As we continue with our review, we're going to look at dividing by a decimal. When you divide by a decimal, you need to rewrite the problem so that you are dividing by a whole number. You can do this by multiplying the divisor by a power of 10. That will make the divisor a whole number, and multiplying the dividend by the same power of 10. Remember that you can multiply a decimal by 10, 100, or 1000 by moving the decimal point to the right 1, 2, or 3 places. In our example, we need to find the quotient, 7 84/100 divided by 1 4/10. Multiply the divisor and the dividend by 10 to make the divisor a whole number. Move the decimal point one place to the right in each number. So if you look to the right at our example, you can see that they've done that and changed 1 4/10 to 14, and 7 84/100 became 78 4/10. Now we're just going to divide as if we were doing it with whole numbers. So 14 goes into 78 5 times. They put the 5 above the 8. Subtract the 70, they got a remainder of 8. Bring down the 4. 14 goes into 84 6 times. So they put the 6 up top. Subtracted the 84, and we don't have a remainder. Sometimes we'll have to add zeros onto the end of the dividend so that we can continue to actually get a complete number as we go. Then, at the very end, you need to remember to write the decimal point in the quotient right above the moved decimal point. So wherever you moved it to in the dividend, it comes straight up on top of the little decimal house there, and it becomes 5 6/10. It's really important to remember to put the decimal in because 56 and 5 6/10 are very different numbers. For the try it here, we're going to divide 5 65/100 by 4 52/100. So first thing we need to do is move the decimal so it's out of the divisor, and there are 2 decimal places in the divisor. Next, for C, we're going to actually move the decimal points here and rewrite the problem with whole numbers. Now we have 565 divided by 452. We know it's going to go in once. And then we get 113. Now, because we still have a number to work with, we have a remainder here, we're going to add a decimal point at the end of the number, and we're going to annex or add a 0 to the dividend. So the answer to question C is yes, we need to add zeros. Now we look at 452, and if we use our estimating, we know it's going to go in twice. And 452 times 2 is 904. Then we're going to subtract. And we get a remainder of 226. So we're going to add yet another 0 onto the end of our dividend and bring it down. $452 is going to go into 2,260 exactly 5 times. So our answer, our quotient, is 1 25/100. All right, for the next problems, we're going to divide, and then we're going to write our answer about the dividend. So the first thing we're going to do with E is we're going to rewrite it so we get a whole number. So we're going to move the decimal 2 places in both the dividend and the divisor, so the divisor becomes a whole number. We know 4 goes into 36 9 times. Now we need to annex. We need to add a 0 onto the end, so we're going to put a decimal point after the 38. Now we have 4 going into 20. It's going to go in 5 times. Now we need to remember to put our decimal in, so we're going to bring it directly up from where it is in the dividend. It's very important that as you're doing division, whether it's decimal or regular whole number, that you keep the numbers lined up directly above the place that they're attached to. For F, we have 25 hundredths going into 4 and 5 hundredths. So we're going to rewrite the problem first so that the 25 hundredths is a whole number. So we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right in both numbers. Right, now we can divide. 25 is going to go into 40 once. It's then going to go into 155 6 times. Now, because we still have a remainder, we need to add a decimal point and add a 0. And we know that 25 goes into 50 twice. And then make sure you put the decimal in your quotient. So we get 16 2/10 as our answer. For G, again, we need to move the decimal 2 places to the right in both numbers to make the divisor a whole number. Okay. We know 85 can't go into 7. Can't go into 70, so we're going to divide it into 705. And it's going to go in 8 times. We're going to do some math on the side here. And it looks like 8 is as close as we can get. And we get 25. So now we're going to bring the 5 down. Now we're going to check, and it looks like you could probably go in about 3 times. So we're going to do our math off to the side, our multiplication to check. And it's going to go in exactly 3 times. So our answer is 8 3/10. For H, we only need to move the decimal 1 place. So we know 37 can't go into 2, so we're going to put the 0 and the decimal point. Then 37 can't go into 29, so we're going to put another 0. So now we've got 37 going into 296. So let's try 8 and see if that works. And it does exactly. So it's going to go in exactly 8 times. So our answer is 8 hundredths. For I, our divisor is the 4/10, so we're going to move the decimal place 1 place to the right for both numbers. Then we end up with 4 going into 56. So 4 goes into 5 once. Four goes into 16 4 times. So I is 14 for our answer. For J, our divisor only has 1 decimal place. We only need to move the decimal 1 place to the right for both numbers. We know 9 can't go into 7, so we're going to put a 0 and our decimal point up. And then 9 is going to go into 72 8 times exactly. So our answer for J is 8/10. For K, again, we're going to move the decimal 1 place to the right for both numbers to get our divisor a whole number. We We know 5 can go into 22 4 times. And we're going to bring down the 5, and 5 goes into 25 5 times. Then we need to remember to put our decimal in. It's going to come straight up in between the 4 and the 5. So we get 4 and 5/10 for our answer. For L, again, we only have one decimal place in the divisor, so we're going to move the decimal one place in both numbers. So 6 goes into 6 once. 6 can't go into 3, so we need to put a 0 up there and then bring down the other 6. 6 goes into 36 6 times exactly. And then we need to put the decimal in. It comes straight up, so it's going to land right between the 1 and the 0. So our answer for L is 1 6/100. For M, again, we only have one decimal place in the divisor, so we only need to move it once in each number. Seven goes into 25 3 times. Bring down the 2. 7 goes into 42 6 times exactly. Then we just need to put our decimal in. It's going to come straight up from where it is in the dividend. So it's going to come right between the 3 and the 6. So our answer is 3 6/10. All right, last problem here. We've got 2 decimal places in our divisor, so we're going to move it 2 in both numbers. We know 3 can't go into 2, so we're going to put a 0 and a decimal place above the dividend. We know 3 goes into 27 9 times. So our answer is 9/10 for N. Please make sure you have all the work copied down. That includes all the work that we did together here. Make sure all 3 papers from this review section are glued in your math notebook so that you have them there as we get ready for our math SOL.